Hello everyone, Venris here, and today we are getting back to modding guides for Total War Warhammer, but specifically we are working on Warhammer 3 right now. Some of these guides can be used still on Warhammer 2 and Warhammer 1, but I always encourage to mod the latest game because it has the most possibilities. And topic of today's modding guide is making and unique resources. Yeah, I will be just making the whole resources, talking about the things that I will be doing and explaining stuff along the way. So let's start. First of all, we are working on Rusty Pack File Manager by Frodo, the best tool that you can get in terms of modding. The tool is totally free, very good, and yeah, nothing more to say about it. Other thing is that we are working on SFO pack, so easier to show stuff because we have all of the needed table already. The names of the tables you can always check on the left side, so you will know where to look for stuff. And today we are making a unique resources for the faction, and this faction will be for Norska. So first of all, if you're doing something in terms of modding, it's always best to base on something. And in this term, as I said, we are basing on SFO, so we know what we want to do. The new resource that we are doing will be a resource for Norska that will be replacing treasure cost for building. Okay, so let's go with, first we need to copy something. The best way to copy things in RPFM is Ctrl Shift and D. First of all, unique name. Let's call it Norska Plunder. Maximum value is the maximum value of how much resources can be. It can be extended with effects. For now, let's make it 100. We can later change it. Factor, always default. This is the easiest one. Icon. For this example, we are using the icon technology. In terms of the icon, where we can find it in a special folder in skins and default. This is the folder where we put the icons. This is the icon that our pulled resource, the new resource, will have. Income policy, end of the round, so it will update at the end of the turn. Scope is a faction, of course, and things like sort order if there are more. Persistent factor here, it means that it's always updating depending on the source. If it has a source, then it will be only one, and so on and so on. There are a lot of small factors here, but I said I want it to be simple, so we are going with this resource. Next thing that we need to do is making factors for the specific resource. So for this one, again, we are copying stuff. I always try to keep stuff simple in terms of the naming. So let's call it battles and call it buildings. Okay, we can copy both of those. Then we are going to pull it resource factors. And this, again, this is the place where we need to determine if this one is positive or a negative. Let's take those two. First of all, here we have the unique ID for those, the factor one, and the resource. Yeah, so resource is without those additional names, so you just have a Norska resource Planda. And the battles will be a positive one because you can get it from battles. Buildings is a negative factor because you use it. Yeah, that is quite easy, I think. Okay, so in fact the resource right now is working like fully. But we need to attach it to the faction and make it visible for the faction. So we need to go to campaign groups, and in campaign groups we are just making a new group. Ctrl Shift A, very good shortcut for stuff. Norska resource Planta. Now we need to attach it to the group member. Again, very easy. I usually use priority of 100, but it's really not needed. Then we need to make that it to the certain culture. Each faction is a specific culture in the game. Okay, so here, name of our group, actor, and always have a data pack open for stuff if you don't know. We're looking for culture names, and we have a Norska. Copying it. Okay, it's here right now. Now we need to attach this group to a specific resource. Yeah. So we have a group of pooled resources. Again, as we have the same name of a group and same of the resource, so it's easy. We make it 0. This is initial amount when you're starting a new campaign. And this amount will be shown as how much you started. Okay, the last thing that we need to do in terms here is a campaign group crafting info. Important thing, if the faction doesn't have any pooled resource already on the top bar in the game, then we can attach a new one. But if you want, you can only attach per table 1. What does it mean? If you want to make one pooled resource for a whole faction, then yeah, you can attach it. But if you want to attach a unique resource to every faction, not the, let's say, the race as Norscan, so if you want to have a specific one for Frog and specific one for Wolfric, then we need to do only that. You cannot have, let's say, this generic plunder and trophies for Wolfric, both of them. That would require scripts to do. But as I said, we are doing this as easy as possible, just using the tables today. Last thing that we need to do really is making the text. In terms of the text, it's always best to also have such a tables. So there are two tables, pooled resource and pooled resource factors. Okay, so we need a display name and display description. Let's call it plunder. Awesome text. And in terms of factors, it's a bit more complicated because we need to do more. Okay, it will be, we need to have a positive and negative tables for both. Okay, let's go with that one. Positive, negative, you have the keys here. And now we have battles. Yeah, that was battles. And also there was buildings. And we need to do the same. Buildings. Yeah. If I make typo anywhere, then it won't work. And battles. In terms of pooled resources, we need to also get back because, yeah, I forgot one important thing. So, information about the display of using and spendings. Okay. And being honest, it should work. Let's check it in the game. Okay, we are in a game right now, and immediately you can see on the top bar, plunder. We have a new resource, and that's really it. That way, you can make your own resource. But let's not stop on that. Let's add more stuff to it, so it will actually work full. Yeah. So we need to make that those battles really give this resource, and the buildings are needing it. Okay, so first of all, let's start with the battles. If we go to the special table that's called Campaign Group Post-Battle Loot Pooled Resources, this is quite nice. Again, it's always better to take something from that it is already in the game. Yeah. So this one, the Luwen one, what group? We just made a group for the whole resource, so it's easier. We can just use the Norska resource plunder. Of course, you can name stuff differently. I always name them in a similar way, so it's easier. Resource factor, this is the one that we made, yeah? So for the battles, this is quite important. Here we have the multiplier exponent, how much you can go maximum, minimum, things like that. This thing cannot be changed then in game using the effects and so on. So let's make it maximum, quite high. And the multiplier, I would say even maybe something like that. I think it can be even maybe like that. It can be also changed. Okay, so this is really done. We're like happy we have it, yeah? So battles will be giving the new resource, but what about the cost for the buildings? This is a bit more complicated. We have something that's called resource cost table. And in resource cost tables, you have a thing that we can use here. There are two of those tables. There's just the resource cost and resource cost pooled resource table. Yeah. So first of all, we need to do that even that this building won't be require gold, there needs to be a resource cost table. That's quite important. We have example here. So it's Tehena win from SFO stuff. Important thing, expedium type, construction order. Yeah. Here in terms of naming, it's always again to do it differently. Yeah? Let's make it based on the base cost. Based on base cost. Resource plunder buildings 500. Okay. If we go again to the other table, this is the place when we change the resource cost itself, because as I saw here, if we would do it this one, this is a treasury cost. We don't want treasury cost. Okay. Bullet resource factor and the resource cost. So remember, this has to be buildings only without 500 naming. Yeah. And we make it minus 500. So that's how it should cost right now. And this one, the resource cost ID, we are taking to our building tables. Building tables, building level tables. Okay. And we have a building here for Norska. Let's use it. Yeah, okay. So in terms here, quite easy stuff. We have a create cost. So cost of creation of said building. We need to change it to 0. And right now, if we move all the way to right, yes, we can do our resource cost value. Of course, we save it, Ctrl S. And let's now try how it is working in the game. Okay, we are back at the game again. And let's check the battles first, yeah? If we, after defeating this guy, we will get something from battles. Okay, that's how to resolve it. As you can see, 45 plunder. It's working. Last factor, battles. Very nice. Okay, let's release this guy. We don't need him. Let's go to the building and check if the building cost is working. Okay, it should be on the plunder building, so this one on the right. And it is. Plunder. This is the cost that is required. Normally you can see it's treasure, but here it's plunder. Very easy to do. Bullet resources, of course, are a bit more complicated because there are a lot of things that you can do with them. For example, you can do effects that just increase them per turn. You can make effects that increase the maximum capacity. And I can show you all of those quite quick right now. So in terms of those effects, quite easy, especially if you were able to do the things that I was showing recently. You're making a special effect. Of course, effects are basic in terms of modding. You can check how to make effects in my first guide. Factor, again, the thing that we had. And then you need just to attach this one where you want, on an item, on a building, everything what you want. Important thing is also only to know that it needs to be a scope of faction to faction. Yeah? Bullet resources are a faction thing, so it needs to be attached to a faction. Different one is a bullet resource junction table, and here it is a bit different because we can have like percentage multiplier. So for example, we can make that all effects made here that persist this specific factor will be multiplied by this effect. So if we make effect that is increasing by 2, let's say, and we have different effect that increase by 100% of this previous effect, then it will be 4, not 2. Quite easy. Maximum mod, still it can go negative, so it can lower the stuff. And post-battle captives outcome. It means that if the resource is attached to the captives, there is also a way to do it. It is multiplied by this. And as I said, this will be all in terms of this guide. It's a bit basic, but if you want, we can later on move to more advanced stuff. Bullet resources are the basic of additional resources in the game. They are quite easy to do, and you can do really a lot of cool stuff with them, or even using this guide edit the vanilla bullet resources that you find in the game. So thank you everyone for watching. Remember to subscribe the video, like it, leave the comment and hit that notification bell if you like it. See ya!